Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cross of Wisdom. We are again ready for a new full moon reading. And I want to say first a few words about the energy situation that we have in the moment. It is very, very extreme that we have very strong bursts of light also coming in, and I will show you a picture a bit later. And I hear also from a lot of people that they are not in trouble, I cannot say that, but they are kind of really in situation where they have to start to choose what they really want. You cannot work for two masters, this is a saying. You have to make your decision. So for example, just to give you a sample which is clear, if you sell cigarettes and you know exactly that they are not really good for people, and you keep selling them, even knowing that you sell them poison, then this is not a good situation for you. But once you realize that to sell cigarettes, it's something not good, you have to change your job. And you have to do something that is supportive for people. And many people who are working in situations that are actually not really helpful for humanity, they are coming into situations where their jobs bring a lot of problems and hurdles. And the only way is like to look at the things around it, what else it's presenting itself, so that whenever something comes up, that you can make a decision to do something different. And I will show you in the chart that this is really the topic that is coming up in the moment very strongly. When you have a look at the chart, you should be able to see it by now. You can see we have the moon in Capricorn, the sun in Cancer. It's not like Western astrology. We don't have the Leo Aquarius axis yet. And I just got a message from a friend talking about the Lion's Gate, but it's also here. There is so much confusion everywhere. There is no Lion's Gate in August, because if you look at the situation of August is actually, when you look at the cycle of the year, the 6 months, you can see that September is 7, October is 8. And, so this is not the counting of the months as we have them today are not accurate. So it's also, when you look at how everything is shifting here, this is not the Lion's Gate for two different reasons. First, it's not the 8 months. And second of all, in the sky, there is neither the moon nor the sun is in Leo. The sun is still in Cancer. So that is a month later. So I think it's really, this is also part of that, what I'm talking about, to be clear. And you see this orange triangle we have here with the red, with the square here. This is a karma triangle, which is very significant for this, what I said before. This is like, we have been in a certain rhythm, under certain dogma, circumstances for a long, long time. And even generation-wise, we cannot remember back. And this is making up the program, how we act and react. And what is so important now to understand for this time to come, that things are coming that we don't know, because we have not experienced it, and we don't have a memory with our physical body, even in the ancestor line, conscious memory, unless we open up to the, we can say, the Akashic records, something that is different from our 3D consciousness, even going up higher to find the truth from beyond. But a lot is seeping through, and you can see, if you are following certain channels, you can see what's coming up. Like, for example, that people were much taller than we are. For example, that the combination of the air on the planet was different at a certain time. So there are so many things coming up now that we have to be very flexible and that we have to let go of our old perspectives because they are changing and they are changing right now. And see, this is what it is. Don't stuck with the old stuff that has been here for thousands of years when the planet was controlled by negative entities. It's time that we now move on into this new paradigm. And how can we go there? The thing is only let go. and as I said before, you know, you cannot anymore really manifest in that your wishes because there will be so much more that we might even not be able to understand it in the moment. So we have to be open that something new which is coming is so much better, which is kind of difficult in the situation when you look around and you see all the topics that are going on in the world. And also when you look at the energies in the moment, what's happening. So the moon in Capricorn, see, Capricorn is the sign where things are dying. Birth is represented here in Aries, the new cycle starting, and then like the baby is being born, it's being physical, is where we plant, where we put out the seeds to plant in Taurus. And then Virgo is the sign where we harvest. And Capricorn is the sign where things are dying, preparing for the winter, or the leaves are falling down, going the roots underground, holding the energy that in spring they can produce new leaves again. And in spring, everything is blooming again. So when we have the moon now in Capricorn with the sun in Cancer, it's kind of the moon is in the opposite, which is a very difficult position. We have a lot of emotional problems here with the sun, with our consciousness, because our consciousness is trained. We are so much trained to hold on to habits. And it's one of the best things that you can do in the moment, just break your habits in any way you want to do it. It doesn't matter how. But whenever, for me, it's one of the easiest ways, the food, that just when you drink, for example, coffee first thing in the morning, change that to drink a juice or a tea or whatever it is what you like. It's very important to change. And this is that orange triangle that we have here, and these orange lines that are, if you are not changing now, it's kind of, you know, when you are in a class and you suddenly have to go to a higher degree, it's very difficult if this part is missing. So if you jump from first grade to fourth grade, for example, and the second and the third is missing, you might not catch up. And that's exactly, but it's not possible here because we talk about energy and our energy changes. So we can also compare that with the radio. If you're in a frequency like 100, for example, you won't hear 110 or 80. That's impossible. You're there. So if you want to switch on, you maybe go to 101 to 102, and then 103 is another channel. But in between 101 and 102, it's kind of making this horrible sound. And this is the difficulty where we are in the moment. We are not yet there in the new channel, but in that time in between. And it is when you look at all the tension, we have a lot of energy here. And I want to share with you now the other picture from the Schumann resonance that I just downloaded a few minutes ago. And you can see here, that's where we are. And this is a real time for me now, because I live also in the UTC plus 7 hours. So this is just what happened. Here was that empty spot. This is a reset. And before we had these very, very, very strong spikes, very strong latent energy bursts coming in. And everybody who is a little bit sensitive can feel it. And I feel very strongly also, I had a few people who contacted me in this last days that they are really having to make decisions now about their lives and what's going on. And we can see that every time we have this blackout, they say it's like a reset. And I feel the same when I look at the chart, that this is a reason. And you see right now when I'm doing this chart, it is about 24 hours before the full moon. You can see that this is exactly this reset, and something new is starting right here. So let's go back to the astro chart and look at this more closely here again. So you see that axis, and then we have the squares going down to Jupiter in Aries. And before I mentioned, Aries is the new beginning. This is the moment when the birth is indicated, but then the baby is not out yet. So again, we are in a situation that something new is being birthed, but we are not there yet to really see it. And the same is also for Uranus, and here we have it down for the world horoscope at the IC. That means at the roots. The roots are in fire, so we have in a moment, just imagine you have to walk over fire. This is very difficult if you have never done it, but it's very beautiful if you have. And this is really enormous cleansing. And this is what is happening in the moment. That the inspiration, Uranus connected with spirit, inspiration in spirit, is this energy that destroys everything what does not belong to you anymore. When Uranus is active in your chart or anywhere, that means that some stuff is blowing up, and there is nothing you can do about it because it's spontaneous. It just happened. It's like a lightning rod, bang, it's here, and you cannot control it. So a lot of people will be in situations where things in their life is changing that they cannot control. But now this but is very important. But you have to see that from the soul journey, you have chosen that this is gonna happen. Because for many people, this is that last chance aspect, This is that aspect that, when you say, for example, people who have died and come back, they often describe how beautiful it is up there, and there is absolutely no judgment, there is just love. But the moment people are here, everything is being judged. So when we are imagining now that this is that reset, it's like we die and we go into this other dimension to see that the truth, what really is love, is support, is no competition, but we support each other. And once you see that all, and in another video, when I was asked about more advanced societies, higher consciousness societies, they have no money. And I know that this is very difficult to understand for people here, but there is no money. What is money for? Because every person who is conscious and is here on the planet wants to support, wants to do something, wants to contribute something. So every person born is having a time where things are that they can choose what they want to do. It's not like I go and study this because of the paycheck, but this is they are looked for, and what talents do you have, and what would you like to do, and then you go into an education, not into a brainwash factory, what our schools are today, but in a real education where you learn things, where you are skilled, the skills are supported, that you can do something. And then you maybe do that for 10, 20, whatever years, because you love to do it. And then maybe one day you say, okay, I have done it now. I really know what I have and how I can do it. And there is no further way. It's kind of now it's limited. There is no more way to expand. So, okay, then you go to, at that time, the authorities or whatever you want to call them. It's more like a council, and say, okay, look, I've done this for 10 or 15 or 20 years now, I would like to do something else. And then you can test again. You can look at many different things, what you would like to do, and you do something else. And automatically you contribute to the whole community, whatever it is. Even some works that maybe you don't like so much, we just do it because it has to be done. That's it. It's just a conscious human being is doing that, whatever it is. And this is actually the way that is that birth into that consciousness, that we do what we love to do, but always in service of humanity. And this is what I meant when I talked about the jobs, like somebody selling cigarettes. So if you know exactly that this is bad for people, then you automatically stop to do that. And then you look for something, what can I do to support humanity, not to block or to make humans sick? So these are the situation that we are in here now. This is that square here that going to Jupiter. How do I expand? And since it is squares, opposition and square, that means it is very difficult for us to understand. But we have a support line here from Mars in Leo, and this is an energetic support connected with Mercury. Mercury is in opposition to Saturn. Now, Saturn, again, that's the ruler of Capricorn. This is where old things are dying, but Saturn is now in Aquarius and is retrograde. So Saturn will force you to go inside, to find the inspiration inside. It might take things away from you outside, but this is that you can focus better inside. And I had actually a worker who they were just here. I had construction for a week. And he came to me a couple of days ago and says, oh, I'm going to the temple now. I'm gone for 3 months. Here in Thailand, there is a tradition that this full moon is the so-called Kaupansa. And this is when the rainy season officially starts. And in these times, the monks, they were not allowed to travel. During the year, monks are allowed to travel into other temples. But in these 3 months till Kaupansa, when the rainy season is finished, they can go out again. So he decided that he needs that quiet place for himself now for these 3 months. And it's not like in a Buddhist temple. Otherwise, you can go into a temple a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it doesn't matter. But if you go in by Kaupansa, you need to stay 3 months. And that's what he's doing. And in a way, that's absolutely the right thing to do in the moment that we go inside. That doesn't mean you have to go into a temple, but it means you have to make some time, free up some time to go into the depth of your true self, to find out what you really want. Where do you really want to expand? What is your dream? And then just be sure and know that you will be supported whenever it is completely right for you and you're aligned to who you are. Then you're aligned to your soul purpose, and then you will have all the support that you need. It's like the angels, they will all work for you. You just have to make the decision where you want to go. And once you've made this decision, things will be very easy. So it is important at that time that you have to understand that if you go against your soul purpose, things will go down for you. And one of the things that is very often of the first things you see is your health. You get worse, you get more tired, you get more whatever in your body you have already, these symptoms will become stronger. And we all have symptoms, and this is not something that you have that or anybody has to be sorry for. This is just how we have been poisoned for so many years in our life that hardly anybody is really completely healthy. just think about the air, just think about the geoengineering, whatever. We all breathe that out. So we have to work on also to support our bodies, and definitely stop to buy all the junk food. I just posted in my group a couple posts also with the E numbers, you know, that when you read labels, there are some numbers, and I pointed out which one are really dangerous. And, you know, they are in our daily food, and we have to watch out that we don't eat that stuff anymore. It is actually not very complicated to get fresh things, and even in cities, you always have somewhere fresh markets. That's really worth to go there. And another thing is also, you know, most people eat way too much. We don't need 3 meals a day, absolutely not. So what we need is enough liquid. And also test your water. You know, when you look at some images of water, and especially the expensive bottled water, be careful with that one, and test it if you can. So anyway, enough about that. So you see all the tension that we have. I showed you before the Schumann resonance picture, the reset that we are in the moment. And of course, there is not just one reset. If there would be only one, it would all blow us up, because this is not possible. You cannot go too high from one frequency to the other. You need to still function. And this is the challenge actually for us, especially in this time now. You know, the shift has really started. The energy shift actually has already started back in the 80s. But the real key point was 2012. And they say it takes about 25 or 30 years to completely shift the energies, because otherwise it would be a blow, bang, and everybody gone. Or maybe some people survive in caves and start at the beginning again. But through the situation that our consciousness level was rising, we had the first time ever on the planet the chance that we go slowly through this energy enhancements, step by step, forward. And there is not going to be a big blast to blow everything up. And this is what is now so important now. Okay, here we have to go to let go of our emotional attachments and of our so-called securities, which are not secure at all. Then we have here this karmic issues here that's going to Pluto, Mars, and to the node, which is connected to all the people. We have the square here. We have a second one, see the second orange 1.5 square to Chiron. This is why I said before, you will feel things immediately first with your health, because Chiron is still connected with your physical health. And we need to learn to be inspired. Here we have this little yellow line here also, that our body will give us messages. You will see, for example, when you get ready to do something that you really like to do, you will feel that your body starts to be happy, be strong, and you feel that all the cells are reacting, you know, like what is Bruce Lipton, that's his name. He has wonderful messages online. Have a look him up, that we create our biology. And this is what, in the moment when you're going to do something which is positive, your whole biology will react to that, and you will be more fit than you forget. Like, for example, when I do something, what I forget first is to eat. So I go and do something, and I work on my pyramids and my other stuff, and I'm excited and do this and that and this. And then suddenly, oh my God, I forgot to eat. And I'm not hungry at all. So this is actually, my body doesn't need food. If I'm not hungry at all, that says, okay, body is okay. So just go and drink a couple glasses of water. Or I make, for example, I make my water kefir, you know. Some people pronounce it kefir, but the original name is kefir. This is a grain that you can make, like also milk kefir. This is also something similar like yogurt, but it has some grains The milk kefir looks a little bit like cottage cheese. You can find it, which is actually, I like it. It's good. First, I like it. It's a bit more sour than yogurt, but I make it. I blend it in the morning with a banana. That's my breakfast. That's all, and I don't need anything else till evening. And this is fine. And you know, it's also, the more you eat, the more tired you are, because a lot of your energy goes into digestion. So another positive thing about it. Then when we look at here in Leo, we have a retrograde Venus. And when Venus is retrograde, this is also, where do we find our inspiration? Where do we find the love that we need? This is within ourselves. And what we have to come to the point really now is to accept that we are divine beings having a human experience. We are divine beings trying to be human. And this is so important to go into this new paradigm, because the other way around, it doesn't work. As long as you still give your power away to entities and deities or whatever outside, you will never really make it. I absolutely agree that there were masters, powerful masters that had lived, like Jesus, like Buddha, like Muhammad, but they have been there in a certain time to show the people something. But the no, I don't know how to say that. Sorry, sometimes my English. The rebirth of the Christ consciousness is within ourselves. And the Christ consciousness, actually, Christ is a title, and the consciousness represents like a higher consciousness, the consciousness of the Christ. That is what I tried to tell you about in the beginning, when I said about the society that is in a higher consciousness doesn't know money, because this absolutely doesn't make any sense. So you just get what you need, and whatever you have, whatever you want. And if you want to take a happy year off and do nothing, that's fine too. So there is always enough for everybody. And remember, once we have a society with higher consciousness, a lot of things that are now, they are not necessary anymore. Like also, the guy who sells cigarettes won't have a job anymore. And there are many other things, and we don't need to work the whole day. There is so much technology that is hidden, including the energy, the free energy, or like what I'm doing in a moment. I have equipped my garden with electroculture and things like that. It's much, much easier afterwards. You don't need, for example, fertilizer anymore. You don't need certain things anymore, because we are in a higher consciousness, and we are not needing all that low consciousness stuff anymore. So this is all connected here in Leo, and this is going here with Mars into the 8th house. The 8th house is exactly in the middle between Mars and Mercury. That means that is the consciousness level that is shifting, our understanding that is shifting, if we let it happen. And we have to let it happen. You know, it's Saturn is kind of forcing us to things through our inspiration and not anymore through our mind. The mind is programmed. So the sun in Cancer, you will maybe experience a time that you're very emotional and things are taken away from you that make you maybe even angry or sad. Just mourn it. It's like you have to let go if you want it or not. That's why you're here. First of all, remember again, you have incarnated right now because you want to be living in this time of the great shift. And, you know, even if people die, it doesn't matter. They have an experience to take with them. Yes, even if people die, they have that experience and they know something for their further evolution afterwards, wherever they go. Wherever they will be, there are many places that you can go as a soul. This is not just this planet Earth. But the planet Earth is a very good place to be, actually, for a certain shift and a certain lesson that we are here for now. And then we can also let go of all the old karma that doesn't work anymore. Because the moment we are going into a higher consciousness, the old stuff will all fall away, especially everything what we were bringing in from past lives. It will be gone because, say, for example, in the past lives, the earth energy, when we use the consciousness table from Dr. Hawkins, there is 200 is courage, and then we come into the positive way. And under 200 is all the fear-based consciousness. So if we can see that until about 1986, that humanity was in a consciousness level below 200 according to his calibration, then once we are moving to, say, 300, already 300, that consciousness level below 200 does not have any affinity to us anymore, and we can just drop it. So the higher your consciousness level is moving and rising, the less complicated and the less difficult life is, because things are coming to you because of the frequency that you send out. Here the axis MC, what do we want to reach is balance. AC, what is the whole purpose of what is happening in the world now? What is going is Sagittarius is breaking through into the higher dimension. Gemini is the understanding of the new paradigm that is coming. So this is what is happening now. The more we let go, the more powerful we are, the more we can, and the faster we can move on. Because one thing is that there is still so much delays because still too many people obey. And at least here I see still a lot of people running around with masks, and they don't realize how much they do bad to themselves. And so we just have to send light and forgiveness and whatever to the people all around us. Because again, forgiveness, for example, if we don't forgive, we carry the burden. We carry the anger. So it's easier to forgive even if it's difficult, but it's easier on us, on our life, on our moving forward, if we forgive and are clear that we can move on forward on our personal path of evolution. I hope that helps you a little bit to understand the time quality that we have in the moment. And if you're an astrologer, please, I'm doing that very intuitive. I'm not going too much into technical details. That's just not my way, because I talked about Uranus before. I'm born with Sun-Uranus conjunction. So that's how I function. It's like it comes through like this. And I wish for all of you that you can now connect to your Uranus, and all of you have it in your chart somewhere, that you can get that inspiration to carry you through into that new energy, in that new light, that soon or one day we'll have a society without money. Thank you for listening. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it. And I hope to see you again very soon for my next video.